two calls left. The last one, we're going to take Laura now, but the last
I knew you were going to pick that one.
Yeah. We're going to save Justin for last, so it's a little bit of advice. But Laura in Michigan is saying that they've been in the presence of God, and yes, there is free will in heaven. How are you, Lauren? Or Laura, sorry.
Hi, I'm Laura. Yes, I'm good. Thank you.
What do you mean?
I love your show.
What do you mean you've been in the presence of God? I don't know what that means.
He comes whenever I want to talk to him. He can actually appear for me.
And he talks to you and answers questions?
Well, I have to purify my heart, and I have to be serious, and my question has to be precise.
Okay.
It can't be dizzy in the head, which I tend to do. And before I talk to him, sometimes it will take days because I have to get rid of the selfishness and the pride. And getting rid of pride is like extremely hard.
Well, it seems that there's a way that we could test this. And that is,
yes, he's right here, right now.
God's there right now.
What would you like to ask him?
Ask God what you should say to me to convince me that he's real.
He loves you very much, and you're doing an excellent job for him.
Yeah, that is not remotely the right answer. So I guess we've tested.
Well, you don't understand the job he's doing.
No,
you're doing this excellent job.
No, Laura, you misunderstood. You misunderstood the thing. I asked you to ask God what you should say to me to convince me that he's real, and you replied with something that did not convince me that he was real. So either you're wrong or God's wrong. Which one is it?
Oh, well, your heart has to be open to love.
My heart is plenty open to love, but that is also something that you should not have said. See, if God were real, God knows me, right?
No, I'm not.
If God's real, God knows me, right?
Yeah.
And God knows exactly what would change my mind, right?
Oh, you think it's a simple thing.
No, I'm asking a question. Does God know what would change my mind?
It's time and much study and much.
Yeah. I've done more time and more study on this subject than probably any believer you're likely to run across. And so, yet that's another. You have access to God, Laura. Why would you ever respond to me without asking God what you should say first? Because if God wants you to say certain things and you're saying the wrong things, aren't you doing a disservice to God?
No, you're assuming that what I said was not what he said because it's not what you're accepting.
No. See, acceptance was included in the question. So either you don't understand logical reasoning or God doesn't understand logical reasoning. Which one is it?
Is love logical?
I think it's you that doesn't understand logical reasoning.
Let me try something, Matt. So
go ahead, Drag.
You have access to an omnipotent, 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 omnipresent deity, correct?
Correct.
Laura? Okay. And
yes.
This deity would presumably know everything about me, right?
Yes.
And you having access to this entity who knows everything about me can and will pass that information to you, correct?
Oh, no.
No.
Not
okay.
Everything.
Not everything. What about simple?
To every individual, it is a miracle that you come to the understanding of him.
Cool.
And I am a human being, and no matter what he says to me, there is no way I am physically possible of presenting to you the information that will bring you to his heart.
No. That's not what Drag. That's not what Drag is asking. That's not what Drag is asking. Let me try this. If Dragnot were to think of a number between 1 and 1,000,000, would God know what number Dragnot is thinking of?
I would hope so.
And if you ask God to tell you what number Dragnot is thinking of,
would he answer that? No, he wouldn't give me that information. He doesn't play games.
Why not? Ask God why. Ask God why he won't give you that information.
It's really weird because that would convince me.
Like I'm thinking of a number.
I don't think that would.
It doesn't matter what you think. It matters what we think and what God thinks. You are irrelevant. You are the conduit to God. You're calling in to say that you are the conduit to the creator, governor, and Lord of the universe who knows everything. It doesn't matter what you think.
So my personal credulity is based on what you're convinced of?
Each of us are thinking of a number between 1 and 1,000,000. Ask God what number we're thinking of or hang up.
I'm sorry, you didn't get my point.
Your point's incoherent. I'm not sure how else to get that across to you. Like this, there's a reason I'd asked Laura that question.
Yeah.
Right. It's like and Matt, you saw where I was going with that, and
like a freight train, and Laura didn't. God didn't even clue her into what she was getting into when she called. So all you people who think you can talk to God, before you dial the number to call us, ask God if you should call us, because if that was part of God's plan, then I think God's plan is to continue demonstrating that there's no rational reason to think that he exists and that his advocates look like buffoons. That's got to be God's plan, because that's what's happening. God is punking you. If God's telling you to call this show and knows what we're going to say and knows what we're going to ask, knows what would convince us, what would change our mind, and what number Drag and I are thinking of, and God wants you to call in to say that we're just closed to love, bullshit. I've been loved. I love lots of people. I have special loves. Oh, you're just not open to God's love. No. Those are all post hoc rationalizations. That's you making up excuses for why you can't do the shit you claim you can do, which is get an answer from God. Oh, well, God, there's nothing that would change your mind. Well, then that's what you should have said. If it's true that there's nothing that would change my mind, then when I ask God, hey, what could I say that would change my mind? And he'd say, nothing. Hell, that would have been closer to accurate than anything that you spewed forth from your brain.
People asking what number I was thinking of. 58. That was the number.
Yeah, mine was 438,729. But that's why I went from one to 1,000,000. And if you hit both of them, like if you'd have spewed forth both of those numbers in our heads,
I would have had to take a step out. I would have had to excuse myself.
I would have spent the next week in serious contemplation as a magician, as a mentalist, trying to figure out. I mean, that structure is impossible for me to merely think of a number, communicating it to no one, writing it down nowhere, and for you to just tell me what the number is. I still couldn't conclude that it was God, but you would have access to some sort of power that is beyond my comprehension and beyond anything that's ever been demonstrated anywhere. Instead, what we got was, here's somebody who thinks they talk to God, and when they talk to God, they get crap answers. I mean, I got better answers from the Tiger King guy than you got from God.
Look, that man has wisdom beyond his years.